What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. We are on day 8 of Going for 25 Days of Christmas. Today we're talking about the college football playoff bracket. Selection Sunday was just a couple of hours ago, so I wanted to hop in here and give my thoughts on the final playoff bracket. There are some things that I am concerned about, or not concerned about, but confused about. There are some inconsistencies that the committee has shown over the course of Selection Sunday this week, and I'm going to talk about all that and more. But further that, man, make sure you hit the subscribe button, man. We're on the road to 300 subscribers. We're at 285. We're almost there, y'all. I cannot reach my goal without the help of you all. So hit the subscribe and like button, share with your folks. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the college football playoff bracket is official. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. I'm not going to go one by each team and why they're there or whatever. I'm going to talk about a couple of different places, a couple of different seedings that the teams are at. And I want to, kind of give my thoughts on that. Okay, so first thing I wanted to talk about was the top 4. The top 4, I'm not mad at the top 4 being the top 4, but I don't like that Ohio State's number 2. Maybe this is me being a biased Georgia fan, but I feel like we should be number 2 team, and I guess it don't really matter because I dropped a TikTok saying that I believe that Ohio State is going to be number 3. So regardless, the seeding doesn't really matter if 2 and 3. They can be interchangeable because they got to play regardless. But I kind of felt like, a conference champion in the SEC should be number 2, especially if, both teams have the same record or whatever. But 3-point loss to number 1 team in the nation is not a bad loss by no means. I know Ohio State looked a little bit shaky last night, but Indiana looked better than Ohio State looked bad. You know what I'm saying? So them being at 2 is fine. Georgia at 3, Texas Tech at 4, Oregon at 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all the same. We know who's there. Number 9 is where the concern starts for me. Alabama is ranked number 9 despite a 21-point loss in the SEC championship. Now, coming into yesterday's game, I believed for a fact that no matter what, win or loss, that Bama would be in because, it's an SEC championship. They said they're not going to punish conference championship game losers. So Bama being in, assuming that the game was going to be close, is fine. But the way they got beat yesterday, I felt after the game, felt like it was going to be tough to put them in the game based on the Miami and Notre Dame situation. But Bama's at 9, whatever, we keep it pushing. But number 10, y'all, is Miami. Number 10 is Miami. Miami jumped over Notre Dame after being under them the week before in the Week 14 rankings. They were under them. Neither team played, and Miami was able to jump over Notre Dame. Now, my sentiment in the previous video that I talked about the college football playoff rankings, my sentiment was the fact that, hey, you know what I'm saying? I understand Miami beat Notre Dame in the head-to-head week 1. But the way the committee really threw Miami down on the ground, they threw them at 18, it made them have to climb back up. And with the rankings not being auto-generated rankings every single week, they're based off of the week before. Over the course of the last 4 weeks, it was tough to just put Miami above Notre Dame based on the last 4 weeks. I understand about the head-to-head. I get that. I understand the sentiment with the Miami fans. Trust me. I had a bunch of Miami fans in my comment section on TikTok talking about how I'm wrong and all that. And that's fine. I understand their frustration. But I could, at the same time, I understood what the committee was thinking. But my thing is, with putting Miami at number 10 now and leaving Notre Dame out of the playoffs is like, you should have just did this in the first place. Because now Notre Dame is looking at it as, how did we fall and we didn't even play this week? How did we fall and neither of us played this week? What made us fall in the rankings when only 5 or 6 teams played a game? I'm all for, the best teams being in the playoffs. But I think fair is fair. And a team falling without even playing, or a team jumping over them not even playing, doesn't make any sense to me. It don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? Now, under the same breath, Miami probably could have just been over Notre Dame in the first place. If Miami was over Notre Dame last week, then I have no complaints because, hey, that's the decision. But now it kind of feels like the committee. It feels like the committee just kind of just said, okay, we messed up. We made a mistake. Let's flip it real quick, and that's what they did. So the at-large teams, the teams that were on the bubble between Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama and Miami gets in. BYU was number 11. They're out. They lost again to to Texas Tech, and they're out of the playoffs. I just don't. I think there are too many inconsistencies with the way the committee did it. Because if we're not going to punish Bama for losing a conference championship game, how are we going to punish BYU for losing a conference championship game? I think it's just tough. It's just very, very tough. I understand the strength of schedule. I understand all that. I hands down believe Alabama's better than BYU. But this isn't about putting the best 12 teams in. It's just that I don't think that's never what it's been about. Now that we're up to 12 teams. You know what I'm saying? I watched the video. It was saying how no matter what, someone's going to complain. No matter what, someone has to be left out. When it was the BCS system, the BCS system was very flawed in that only 2 teams got in, and it was impossible to just. There were more than 2 teams that were championship game worthy. Maybe went up to 4 teams. With 4 teams, we got to a point where 4 teams wasn't enough. But now that we're at 12 teams, I believe 12 teams might be just too much. That might just be what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because now the issue we have now is that you have your top 4 teams, maybe top 5, top 6 teams, and then everyone else has the exact same resume. They have the exact same resume. How many 10-2 teams are in the playoffs right now? How many? You know what I'm saying? And, of course, a bunch of them matched up against each other, and that kind of set up the seeding. But it's just really tough. It's tough to leave teams out. You know what I'm saying? And I think my biggest concern right now is that if these conference championship games don't matter, why even play them? Why even play them if we're going to pick and choose why they matter? Ohio State loses and just drops to number 2. I'm not mad at that. Alabama loses by 3 touchdowns and doesn't move at all. BYU loses to the number 4 team in the nation and they drop out the playoffs. What's the point? What's the point of these conference championship games? What's the point? I feel like there's no point. Another thing I want to talk about too is I don't like these G5 teams in. I don't like it. I don't like G5 teams in. I understand they want to include these smaller schools, but I mean, hey, if JMU or Tulane beat one of these, beat Oregon and Tulane and Ole Miss, then hey, I have nothing to say. Everything I'm about to say is irrelevant. But what really throws everything into a wrinkle, throws everything into a bind, is the fact that we're allowing these G5 schools to compete for national championships. Do we think that JMU is gonna go on a run and has a chance to win a national championship? No, we don't. Do we think Tulane can go on a run and has a chance at a national championship? No, we don't. So my thing is, if it's going to be about getting the best 12 teams in, we need to get rid of the auto bids. And that may be what comes next. You got to get rid of the auto bids. You know what I'm saying? And I think that will force these smaller schools to schedule these really good teams in the G5, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think JMU is 14-1. Their only loss is to Louisville, a Power 5 school. Tulane is a little different because Tulane did beat the ACC champion. But they also lost 45-10 to Ole Miss in week 4 this season. It's just really tough. It's really tough. I think we're gonna see a couple of changes next season. I think we're gonna see Notre Dame finally join a conference. They may join the ACC. I think they need to finally join a conference because what last night or what yesterday showed was that Notre Dame could have went to the ACC championship against Virginia and lost and might have still gotten in the playoffs. Maybe. So it's a really tough situation, y'all. Really tough situation. Playoffs start in 2 weeks. We have the first round matchups in a couple weeks. I'm really excited for those games. I think we should have a couple of good games. We're gonna have an Alabama and Oklahoma rematch at Oklahoma. That should be fire. It's gonna be fire. A rematch of that game. I think the last time they played it was 23-21. So that game's gonna be pretty good. We have Ole Miss versus Tulane again. I just said how that game turned out in week 4. It might be worse this time. Maybe a new head coach. We'll see what happens. Number 7, we got Texas A&M versus Miami. Texas A&M versus Miami. I think that should be a pretty good game in itself. I would take Texas A&M to win that game. I think Carson Beck has another stinker loading up. And the last game, we got Oregon versus JMU, which should be a bludgeoning. But yeah, let me know y'all reaction to the let me know y'all reaction in the comment section to the college ball playoff rankings. Notre Dame fans, I truly do feel for y'all, because falling without a game being played is absolutely insane to me. That's just crazy to me. But that's it, man. Until next time, Going for 2. We out here. Day 8 of Going for 25 Days of Christmas. We out of here. Yeah.